You ever notice how kindness sneaks up on you when you least expect it? That's what happened to me one rain-soaked morning in Seattle. The kind of morning where you can't tell if the world's washing itself clean or just can't stop crying. It all started in a tired little coffee shop called the Rainy Bean, tucked away on a street most people just rush past with their heads down, shoulders hunched. I was there behind the counter, apron on, cheeks flushed from steam, trying to pretend the espresso machine's hiss was soothing and not a ticking time bomb for my nerves. That's when Mr. Olson, my boss, thundered up, waving a receipt like it was a loaded gun. "Andrea, you gave away another muffin, didn't you?" He didn't even try to hide his irritation. I just wiped my hands on my apron and told him he was just a kid. Freezing. Didn't even ask for anything. He shot me a look, muttering something about profit margins, but I'd already tuned him out, my mind somewhere else, probably outside in the rain. Right then, the bell chimed, and in shuffled a man and a little girl, both so soaked it looked like they'd swum to the door. He was gaunt, coat threadbare, shoes squeaking, clutching a couple crumpled bills like that's all he had left. The girl, God, maybe 6 years old, clung to this battered pink doll, hair a mess under her hood, eyes wide and silent. He tried to order, voice barely above a whisper, "Just one small coffee, please." The way he looked at the girl, you could see he wanted to ask for more, but couldn't. So, yeah, I made his coffee, but I made two. Grabbed a muffin too, handed it over with a smile, told him, "You forgot your second order, rainy day special, on the house." He stared at me like he didn't understand, then nodded, his eyes suddenly glassy. The little girl, she whispered, "Thank you," and held that muffin like it was the last treasure on earth. They took a booth by the window, sharing every crumb, every sip, like it was a feast. 30 minutes later, they were gone, but they'd left something behind. Tucked under the salt shaker was an envelope, thick with crisp bills and a single line, "You just saved more than a morning." My heart nearly stopped. What I didn't know, what nobody could have guessed, was that the man was Joseph Bennett, a millionaire in hiding, owner of one of the country's biggest coffee chains. But back then, to me, he was just another lost soul trying to shelter his daughter from the world. I kept thinking about them, all day, all night, even as I wrestled with my own struggles. I was drowning in hospital debt from my mother's surgery, working double shifts, skipping meals, still managing a smile every morning because, when I was a kid, a stranger once bought me lunch. That kindness echoed through my life. I guess that's why I couldn't help giving out a muffin now and then. One act of kindness, it can echo forever. Joseph and his daughter, Cheryl, started coming back, always together, always quiet. At first, I figured it was the free muffin, but the truth was, he came for something less tangible. The way he looked at Cheryl, the way he listened to my silly stories about ladybugs on bus tickets or dreams about flying on a spoon, it all mattered. He never talked about himself. Paid in cash, tipped generously, never left a last name. But I noticed things. His shoes got nicer. His hands weren't rough like someone who did hard labor. He wore a watch my friend Lisa swore was worth more than my car. Still, I pushed the questions away. People are allowed to keep their secrets. Then came the twist nobody saw coming. One night, while I was closing up, I heard Joseph on the phone, his voice, suddenly not gentle, but authoritative, commanding. He mentioned Bean and Brew, the famous coffee chain. I froze. All the puzzle pieces clicked. The hidden tips, the expensive watch, the anonymous hospital payment that suddenly cleared my mother's debt. My head spun. Was it all real, or was I just a charity case in his eyes? The next morning, when Joseph and Cheryl came in, I couldn't pretend anymore. I confronted him, put the hospital bill on the counter, his name printed on it for the world to see. "Why didn't you just tell me?" I asked. He looked tired, older, said quietly, "I just wanted to help. I wanted to be seen for who I am, not what I own." The cafe felt smaller, colder. I told him, "You wanted honesty, but built everything on lies." He insisted, "I never meant to hurt you. I wanted to return the kindness you gave us. But sometimes good intentions cut the deepest." Cheryl tugged at my sleeve, eyes worried. "Are you mad at Daddy?" I wanted to say no, but the hurt was raw. Joseph gathered Cheryl, said it was time to go. After they left, I broke down in the storage room, tears burning hot. For days I couldn't sleep, couldn't stop replaying every detail, wondering if I'd been naive, or if he'd been lonely enough to hide behind a lie. A week later, the Rainy Bean was buzzing news signs, a donation box, flyers for a community charity night. I didn't organize any of it. Someone had taken my story, my kindness, and turned it into a movement. And then, as if fate had a sense of humor, Cheryl's crayon drawing turned up again, a picture of me, Joseph, and Cheryl under a bright sun, labeled Ms. Andrea, Daddy, and me. That drawing felt heavier than $100 bill. The charity night was full. Joseph stood in front of everyone. I searching for mine, voice trembling but strong. I came here with my daughter, looking for a quiet cup of coffee. I found kindness. I wasn't honest about who I was, not out of malice, but out of fear. I lost someone I loved and stopped believing I could be loved for who I am, not what I own. He apologized to me in front of everyone. And, for a moment, nobody else existed. I walked up, took his hand, and the room melted away. That night, we handed out food to the needy together, just three broken people trying to make the world a little softer. Over the next few months, everything changed. Joseph stepped away from his empire, passed the reins to someone he trusted, kept only enough to give Cheryl a future. We bought a little house near the cafe, with a backyard for sunflowers, creaky floors, and the kind of silence you can fill with laughter. We started a foundation, Warm Hands, Full Hearts, to help families in crisis, just like someone once helped us point one evening in spring. We walked through Volunteer Park, Cheryl racing ahead, her laugh echoing. I asked Joseph, "Do you miss the old life?" He just shook his head. Not once. We sat under a cherry tree, watched Cheryl twirl, arms open wide. And he said, "You know, I used to think heroes wore capes. Now I think they just show up. Every day." I smiled, squeezed his hand. Sometimes love sneaks in, quiet and persistent. Sometimes it grows in the cracks kindness leaves behind. As the sun set, Cheryl darted over and called me Mommy by accident, cheeks blushing. Joseph laughed, told her, "You can call her whatever you want, sweetheart." I hugged her tight. That's the real ending, right? Not the money, not the secrets, but three people building something out of what's left. You know, it's funny. One cup of coffee, one act of kindness, and suddenly the world feels warmer. So let me ask you, where do you think the line is between helping someone and hiding behind generosity? Do you believe we can ever truly start over, or do our scars just shape the way we love? Drop your thoughts below, right or wrong, justice or forgiveness. I want to hear your take. Like, share, and let's keep spreading the idea that kindness, even when complicated, is always worth it. Stay kind and keep believing in the good.